The Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution states, "A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." Key interpretations. Collective rights theory argues that the Second Amendment protects the right of states to maintain militias rather than an individual's right to own firearms. Individual rights theory asserts that the Second Amendment guarantees an individual's right to own and carry firearms regardless of militia service. Several landmark Supreme Court cases have shaped the legal understanding of the Second Amendment. District of Columbia v. Heller, 2008. The case revolved around a Washington, D.C. law that banned handgun possession and required legally owned firearms to be stored disassembled or with a trigger lock. Ruling, the Supreme Court ruled, in a close 5-4 decision, that the Second Amendment protects an individual's right to possess a firearm unconnected to militia service for self-defense. Significance: this landmark case was the first time the Supreme Court established that individuals have a constitutional right to own firearms. McDonald v. Chicago, 2010. Facts. The city of Chicago had a handgun ban similar to the one that was struck down in the Heller case. The Supreme Court ruled, in a 5-4 decision, that the Second Amendment applies to state and local governments through the incorporation doctrine of the 14th Amendment. This case expanded gun rights by preventing states from severely restricting gun ownership. Although the Supreme Court has upheld individual gun rights, various regulations exist at the federal and state levels. Federal laws include several significant pieces of legislation. The National Firearms Act of 1934 regulated certain firearms like machine guns and short-barreled shotguns. The Gun Control Act of 1968 prohibited felons, minors, and the mentally ill from owning firearms and introduced federal licensing for gun dealers. The Brady Handgun Violence Prevention Act of 1993 established federal background checks for gun buyers. Lastly, the assault weapons ban, which lasted from 1994 to 2004, temporarily banned certain semi-automatic weapons but was not renewed. State laws. Gun laws vary by state. Some states have strict gun control measures, like California and New York, while others have permissive laws, such as Texas and Florida. Key areas of regulation include concealed carry versus open carry laws. Some states require permits, while others allow unrestricted carrying of firearms. Stand your ground laws allow individuals to use deadly force in self-defense without the duty to retreat. Red flag laws allow courts to temporarily remove firearms from individuals deemed a danger to themselves or others. The right to bear arms remains one of the most contentious issues in US politics. Arguments in favor of gun rights. The Second Amendment explicitly protects firearm ownership. Guns allow individuals to protect themselves, their families, and their property. Some argue that widespread gun ownership reduces crime. And then there's the belief that an armed population prevents government overreach. Arguments for gun control. High levels of gun violence and mass shootings prompt calls for stronger regulations. Even in Heller, the court acknowledged that some restrictions are permissible. Countries with stricter gun laws tend to have lower gun-related deaths. Some argue that states should have more control over firearm regulations. The future of the Second Amendment. With shifting political landscapes, new Supreme Court cases, and evolving public opinion, gun rights and regulations remain a key area of constitutional debate. Future challenges may involve expanding or limiting concealed carry rights, challenges to assault weapon bans in certain states, and new federal regulations on background checks or magazine capacities.